Solving quadratic equations. Today we are going to solve quadratic equations. And in solving quadratic equations, there are four methods. First is by extracting the roots. Second, by factoring. Third, by using the quadratic formula. And fourth, by completing the square. Let's start with the first case, extracting the roots. How do we solve quadratic equations by extracting the roots? Say for example, we're asked to solve x squared equals 9. Notice that this method is only applicable when x raised to 1 is not present, and we can easily extract the square root of both sides of the equations. This becomes x and the positive and negative root of 9, which is 3. Let's have another one. Say for example, we have 2x squared equals 72. We cannot extract the square roots yet because of both sides of the equations, since there's a numerical coefficient 2. So the first thing we have to do is divide both sides of the equation by 2. This will become x squared equals 36. Now we can extract both the square roots of both sides of the equation. We now have x equals positive and negative 6. Let's have another one. Let's say 3x squared minus 1 equal to 146. Alright, the first thing we have to do is transpose negative 1 to the other side of the equation. So we shall have 3x squared equals 147. Dividing both sides of the equation by 3, we will have x squared equals 49. And so we can extract the square roots of both sides of the equation, and we will have x equals the positive and negative of 7. The second method is by factoring. This method is also limited or restricted to polynomials, or to equations rather, which are factorable. Say for example, we are asked to find the roots of x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Notice that this is factorable. And so, what are the factors? X minus 2 and x minus 3 equals 0. Now, we equate each factor to 0. And so, we'll have x minus 2 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. The first root is x positive 2 and x positive 3. Let's have another one. Say for example, we have x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. Again, this trinomial is factorable. And the factors are x plus 2 and x plus 4. If we equate each factor to 0, then we will have Then we will have x sub 1 equals negative 2, and x sub 2 equals negative 4. The third method is by using the formula. The formula in finding the roots of the quadratic equation is negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Where are we going to get the values of a, b, and c? Remember, the standard form of equation is equivalent to ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Let's take an example. Remember the previous example, x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0. Let's use this time the formula in finding the roots of this quadratic equation, and let's find out if we will get the same answers. The value of a here is positive 1, the value of b equals negative 5, and c is positive 6. Now, let's use the formula. Substitute the value of b, which is negative 5, plus minus the square root of negative 5 squared minus 4 times 1 times 6 divided by 2 times positive 1. Let's simplify our answer. Negative of negative 5 is positive 5 plus minus the square root of negative 5 is positive 25. 4 times 1 times 6 is 24 divided by positive 2. Simplifying the radicand, we have the square root of 25 minus 24, which is 1. So we'll have x equals 5 plus minus 1. Let's separate the two roots. Separating the plus, we'll have 5 plus 1 over 2. Separating the negative, we have x sub 2 equals 5 minus 1 over 2. So we shall have x sub 1 equals 3. We shall have x sub 2 equals 4 over 2, or simply 2. Going back to the previous answers, remember that when we use factoring, we use the same set of answers, and we had 2 and 3. So whatever you use, whether it is by factoring or by formula, you shall have the same answers. And the last method is by completing the square. By the way, we actually have obtained the quadratic formula through this process by completing the square. Let's solve the same example. X squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0 by completing the square. First thing that we need to do is to transpose the constant positive 6 to the other side of the equation. We will have x squared minus 5x equals negative 6. And the next thing that we need to do is since this is about completing the square, we have to complete the left side of the equation. We have to get the middle numerical coefficient, which is negative 5 divided by 2, then square it. The square of this is 25/4. Now what are we going to do with 25/4? We are going to add this to both sides of the equation. So we will have x squared minus 5x plus 25 over 4 equals to negative 6 plus 25 over 4. This is now a perfect square trinomial, and we can factor this resulting to a square of a binomial. That will be x minus 5 over 2 equal to, adding these two, we will have 1 over 4. Now if we will extract the square of both sides of the equation, we will have x minus 5 halves equals positive and negative 1 of 2. Now going back, separate the two. So x minus 5 halves equals to the positive root equals 1 half, while the other one is x minus 5 halves equals to the negative root, which is negative 1 half. So we will end up with x sub 1 equals 1 half plus 5 halves, which equals to positive 3. Here we'll end up with negative 1 over 2 plus 5 halves, which is equal to equal to 4 over 2, or positive 2. Remember, the results are 3 and 2. Similar to what we did when we used formula and we used factoring. We had the same answers. Amazing.